Hello, hello, hello. I am delighted to be with all of you this morning, this afternoon. It's great, especially after yesterday. So thank you. So let's start. You can put your feet on the floor and get yourself so that everything is in alignment. Close your eyes if that feels good to you. Just bring your attention to your breath. Yesterday, a lot of you spoke about gratitude, and I thought that that was really striking, really beautiful. And I want to bring that back around today, just about how grateful I am to be in this place, in this moment, to have all of you here too, taking some good breaths, getting us into this space. We're going to start this morning with an announcement, a cool opportunity that is available to you. So I'm introducing a friend and colleague, Bridget White. She's from Centered Outdoors is her programming, and she works with Clearwater Conservancy. And she's going to share with you this opportunity about outdoor leadership cohort happening over the summer. Thanks, Bridget.
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah.
I'm not too keen on a microphone, so I'll do my best, but let me know if I'm hurting your ears. Like Jen said, my name is Bridget, and I'm the program coordinator with Clearwater Conservancy. I coordinate our Centered Outdoors program. If you haven't heard of Clearwater Conservancy before, we're a nonprofit organization, a conservation organization, so we work to protect our area's natural resources through conservation and education. So Centered Outdoors is the education part of that. We take people on free nature walks, letting them know about these public lands, the opportunities that you can have to recreate outside, and a bit about the natural history of those places. This summer, though, we are working to pilot a bunch of new programmings, and one of those is our outdoor leadership cohort. This opportunity is designed to create more leadership opportunities for diverse members of our community. Representation in the outdoors is not what it could be, especially locally here, nationally, and so this is the catalyst for this program, is to be able to engage a more diverse audience and also have a more diverse team leading our programming and being a part of these efforts. So this is a program of no cost. However, you are provided funding for specific certifications, trainings, the opportunity to host events with our program, learn from your peers, learn from others. So it's a really awesome opportunity that we're hoping to get more people involved in. Obviously, understanding with students, you have busy summer schedules or you leave for the summer, but this is a program that isn't too heavy on your time. Some weekend opportunities, after work or school hour opportunities, and so it's fairly flexible with your schedules as well, if you see fit. So if this is something that might be of interest to you, or anyone else that you know, you can apply online. There's a QR code on the flyer that I shared with Jen that she's going to share with you all. But if you have any questions too, that's my email there as well. And please let me know if you want to be a part of this. Please let us know and share it with your friends and peers as well. Thanks.
Thanks, Bridget. Yeah. Cool opportunity. Thank you. See you later. All right, so that's a cool opportunity that's available to you. A couple of things just about this week. I'm going to be giving you your last pack-back prompt at the end of today. There will be another pack-back makeup time next week, so if you missed any of the previous prompts, you can go back and complete those, either your original reflections or your response to somebody else. So that'll be coming up. I'll put that out in a Canvas announcement to all of you. I also want to say that coming up, I see that the SRTEs are open for this class. So please do the SRTE. I value that incredibly. I take that really to heart. So any feedback that you can give me there, but often that little fill in the dot thing is not very specific. And so I also offer you this opportunity as the final blog prompt. So giving you extra credit to help me make BiSci 3, help Autumn and I, help the TAs, help the learning coordinators, help all of us make BiSci 3 an experience that is valuable to the students. So the last blog prompt is titled Coach Us. And given that it is our intention to make improvements from one semester to the next, we solicit your help, considering all the various elements of the class. Pick one area, in your opinion, improvements could be made, and offer your ideas for how we could make such improvements. So this is, I love your feedback. So even if this is the only blog prompt that you do all semester, I really appreciate it. So different people, my supervisors and people use the SRTE, and then Autumn and I will pick apart this blog prompt and your answers pretty in depth. And so I would appreciate very much for you to do both of those things. I know that's asking more of your time, but it's really valuable to us. So thank you. The blog will close on Wednesday, April 26th at 5 o'clock. That's Wednesday of next week, so that we can get those, your responses tallied there and get your extra credit put into the system. So that's there for you. I also want to say that your action component for this week, contacting an inner teacher, I admit that it might seem a little strange at first, might catch you off guard. But after today's class and Wednesday's class, you may find that it makes a little bit more sense. So using that whole being that we've been talking about, the parts and capacities of you that you're finding along the way, finding and or acknowledging, that might give you tools to do that prompt in your journal, your action component. So be patient with yourself and live your way into that one a little bit. TA conversations have been going great. I love that time. If you have signed up on the clipboard and have not yet signed up on the Google Doc for a specific conversation time, please look for an email from Autumn or talk to your TA about how you can get connected for one of those TA conversations. They are some of my favorite times of the year, talking with everyone. So thank you. And yesterday was awesome. I had a blast yesterday. So thank you so much for being present, for being there, for playing in the woods, for just being participants in that experience. And so something that came up, I already mentioned that idea of gratitude that came up in a lot of the circles that I held there in the front yard. But this really struck me as something that came up a lot that ties into last week's class of slowing down. I lied and said I was busy. I was busy, but not in a way that most people understand. I was busy taking deeper breaths. I was busy silencing irrational thoughts. I was busy calming a racing heart. I was busy telling myself, I am okay. Sometimes this is my busy, and I will not apologize for it. Thanks for being busy with me in the woods yesterday. So today, what we're working toward, Sydney Harris says, most of us go all the way through life as complete strangers to ourselves. Our topic today is identity and how our individual identity plays into who we are, what we do, the choices that we make, right? So the big question that a lot of us ask, who am I? It's such a big question that sometimes people have started wars, right? When they feel as though their ideas, their identity is questioned or threatened. Sometimes we make assumptions about basic information about people that's related to their identity, and that can be really unhealthy, labeling people. So I'd like you to, now in your journal, write down the first words, 2 words that come to mind when you ask yourself this question: who am I? 2 words. And just to do this in silence for yourself. So once you have 2 words, then write down 2 more words. Expand it. Who am I? Now we'll get the microphones out. I'd love to hear from, I would say, 4 of you or so about what word or words did you choose that you feel strongly about that answer this question. How did you answer this question?
I have one in the front.
Thanks, Anj.
Hi.
Hi.
My 4 words are passionate, enthusiastic, talented, and unique.
Awesome. Thank you. Someone else?
At first I chose myself because I didn't really know what to say. And then I said others, and then I said family and friends.
Okay.
So just like a mixture of my environment and what I picked up from what's around me.
Okay. That's interesting. That's cool. Thank you. That's good.
Another in the back.
Okay. Thanks, Anj.
Okay, so I like to stay humble. I wrote cool, blonde, intelligent, stylist.
Ooh, interesting. One more person? Yeah.
I said a human being, someone worth getting to know.
I am loving this. These are great words. This is super fun. So thinking about who am I and how that plays out in your life, right? How do those different words that you chose bring action to your world, right? The choices that you make. So sometimes, well, first I want to say that this is kind of the big topic of BiSci all along, right? What is our identity? How do we play the role? How do we choose the things that we choose in life? This idea that identity encompasses, like she said, the family and friends and others, and it encompasses the memories and the experiences and the relationships and the values that create our sense of self. It creates a steady sense of who we are over the course of time, even as new facets. You know, when a diamond gets polished on all the different edges, those different facets, the edges that make it so sparkly and bright. That's what we're doing too. All the different facets and areas of our lives as they get developed and become sparkly to become who we are, becomes incorporated in what our identity is. So there's a chance that on your list that the who am I are things that you identify with, like groups or organizations that you identify with. So for me, it could be being a mother is something that I identify with, but it doesn't actually speak to my identity. So as you look on your list, maybe it's something about a job that you have or a role that you play. So we're going to do an example of how to get a little bit deeper with those things. So I have a volunteer, Ansh, who's going to help me with this. And so Ansh, I'd like to ask you about an organization that you are involved with.
Yeah, so I was really involved with Thon and have been for the past 12 years of my life. So I think that's a good organization to use for this.
12 years, that's pretty significant. So why is it, what sparked that 12 years ago for you to get you involved in Thon?
So a friend of mine passed away from cancer, I believe it was probably 13 years ago, and I saw this community being built about how much support was being created, and that was something I knew that I myself had to be a part of because it was something, and that community was just so important to me.
So why was it that that community was important to you?
I saw that there was a great goal that we could all get together for, and seeing myself as someone who loves to help people and finding a purpose and expanding on that within myself was something that I could continue and thankfully have been able to since.
It's pretty cool, thank you. So the idea that, maybe in his who am I, he could have put, is it Thon chair, Thon captain, Thon, what's your title?
Yeah, so I was a finance captain for Thon this year.
Okay, finance captain. So who am I? He could have put Thon finance captain, but instead, what really gets at the deeper part of what Ansh's identity is that he's a helper. He is a community builder. He is someone who cares. So those are the who am I, and then the actions that he chose or continues to choose are what has come about because of that. So now I'd like you to think about one of these examples of a role that you play and why you choose to play it as what's the underlying who am I in those roles that you choose. So I'd like you to do that with your partner. Take a couple of minutes so that each of you get a turn to share the choice of the activity and then the underlying why of that. It might take a few iterations of questions to get there. Go for it. sense that things are settling a little bit. So does anybody have an example? Maybe you want to tell the story of the person that you were talking about, if that's okay with them, as you were being a good, listener and taking in their story. Any examples out there that folks want to share?
I have one on the balcony.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Hello. I said that I'm a dancer. I'm on Whiplash, so I dance all the time, so I'm passionate.
That's awesome. So you're passionate about dance.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. So you're in that because it's something that brings you joy. That's cool. Others?
Yeah, I have one.
Okay. Sorry, I can't see where. There you are. Okay.
Hi. So my partner Bridget was telling me that she's an older sister, and she thinks that this translates to always being like a mentor for her friends and like someone that gives like good advice and like appreciates being like people coming to her to get advice.
Oh, that's cool. That's a beautiful part of your identity. Thank you.
Hi, Jen.
Hi.
I'm over here. I'm Grace.
Okay. Hi. Oh, thank you.
I spoke with my friend Sophie, and Sophie is a connector through food and drink as a bartender and working in the food industry. And we talked about how she's a storyteller and she brings people together through food and drink. And I think that's really beautiful.
I think that's a great example. Thank you. Yeah.
Jen, we have someone in the front to your left.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hi. So me and Anna said, I said that I was a nanny, and I believe this because I'm a caretaker and a giver, and I like to be a leader. And Anna said she's a friend, and her reasoning was because she thinks she's a good friend. And what I've noticed about Anna is she's a good listener, and she's also very giving, so I think that makes her a good friend.
Thank you. How beautiful. I appreciate the complimenting too. That's lovely. So we've been around this question in a lot of different ways. The idea of identity and how it plays into all the different work roles and places. So what has the cosmos told us, right? Cosmos has told us that we are made of ancient stuff. We are made of ancient stuff. You've come forth through this generative creativity of the universe. You are the stars and you are your ancestors, right? So we're connected to absolutely everything around us. So thinking about that, it might, play into this assignment that you have coming up, the ecological identity. And I'll talk a little bit about more that in just a moment. But what does this have to do personally with your identity? Take a moment and just reflect on that. What do you feel close to, knowing that you are a part of the cosmos? It's a big question, too. Think about your experience yesterday. Talk about it if you want. interrupt you. Having this deeper connection becomes a little bit of a cool conundrum in my mind. You are one freaking cool, unique being, right? You are one freaking cool, unique being in a giant community of earthlings, insects and animals and fungi and plants and bacteria. One, just one individual, one. And no one has ever been like you, or is like you now, or will be like you in the future. So in an interesting way, we're all the same because we're all different. It's this cool conundrum of identity, right? We all have that in common. So what about culture? We've talked a lot about that lately. What does culture tell you that you are? How does this fit into your identity? I am, I am, I am. We're in this dramatic time of cultural shifting. We're moving through a passageway from a current story into a new story. And so we have this place where stereotypes can be really threatening, can be really damaging. Stereotype threat refers to the psychological phenomenon where an individual feels at risk of confirming a negative stereotype about a group that they identify with. Stereotype threat contributes to achievement and opportunity gaps along racial and ethnic and gender and cultural and religious groups. So when we have this as part of our story, or carry these stories as part of our identity, you know what I mean? Like, men are better than women at math. That black people aren't as academically inclined as white people or Asian people. Men aren't as emotional as women. And then there's the whole gender thing that plays into all those statements that I just said. It becomes very confusing, and it can become very hurtful and very damaging to people. So stereotype threat is especially dangerous to those far-reaching impacts that it has not just on the individual, but on our society as a whole. And I'd like to show you an ecological identity project that gets at this idea of how culture tries to shape us and how, in turn, our own beliefs may come from the culture, and what this one person chose to do about it. So take